Hey, what's up? It's Comic 95, the Savior, and yeah, this is going to be a Rant's Japanese journal. So once again, for those of you that are new to this channel, don't understand what this is, basically I kind of rant, gossip to you about what went on inside my personal life during my day living in Japan, thus making it Japanese because it belongs to Japan. Anyway, yeah, today was so crazy, so much you want to talk about, but okay. I don't know where to start. I guess I'll talk about behavior. So I'm like, it's really weird because it seems like I'm the only person that, I won't say has a brain, but understands that there's a difference between abuse and discipline. So nobody has complained about my techniques, but it's like, I don't understand why this isn't common sense for like the other teachers and admin staff at my job, especially since I work at an international school, so you're dealing with tons of other foreigners. But then again, I guess it's a black thing. I, didn't grow up inside of the best household, I will say that. But one of the things that I will say, ignore the sirens and whatnot. The one thing that I will say that I am appreciative of, which I probably wasn't at the time, but I am as an adult, is that there most certainly was some level of structure and rules. Now, being honest, I never had like assigned chores. I was never required to do anything as far as that goes. But I was someone that liked to be clean because I grew up inside of a not so clean environment. But that's not really what we're getting at in this video. I'm more so talking about discipline. I did get in trouble for doing things out of line. And this is a bad thing, but really because I grew up in an abusive household, I always had like a secret fear of disappointing people, not following the rules and being wrong of something. I was afraid of getting punished. And so you don't necessarily want to have that extreme with your children or students. But the problem that I have with this new PC culture of, oh, don't whoop your kids, don't yell at them, don't do whatever, is you are literally setting up your child for failure. I understand that people feel like, oh, just because, your parents did this, they did their best, it doesn't make it right, just because it's the way it's always been done. I get it. Because that would be considered as a fallacious argument. I forgot what fallacy that is, but it's essentially saying, oh, because we've always done it this way, this is the right way to do it. I totally agree with you on that. But we also have to stop pretending like just because something is old-fashioned, that it's bad or wrong suddenly. All I have to say is this. Guns have been around for the longest. Why are we just now starting to see all of these school shooters? Why are we just now starting to see everybody be diagnosed with all of these mental health issues, etc.? It's not just because of people being abused. It's not just because of even vaccinations, etc. Even if we ain't finna get into that conversation, but all I gotta say is there were not so many people that were autistic until recently. But we're not gonna talk about that right now. We're not gonna get into doctor stuff, but we're gonna talk about facts. You need discipline because the reality is, while times have changed as to what's socially acceptable to do and what's socially not acceptable to do, punishments have remained the same. If you've never taught your child that everybody is not going to nicely sit down and be like, sweetie, don't hit, what's going to happen when they get their shit rocked when they get older? What's going to happen when your kid, who you don't discipline, like yell at you, do whatever, gets shot by somebody, gets stabbed by somebody, gets their tooth knocked out, ends up with a black eye? Now you're going to be freaking out. Or let's make it worse. What's going to happen when your little spoiled brat that you're raising ends up in prison? Because you were too soft on them. You don't believe in yelling at them. You don't believe in spankings. You don't believe in time out. Now I'm lucky. The place that I work at, I'm allowed to pretty much do everything. Of course, this is not the 70s. We don't beat kids around here. And to be honest, I wouldn't have interest in doing that anyway. But I am allowed to pretty much do anything else as far as, I want. But I just think about how other schools go. Not my job, but other jobs. There are some jobs, some schools, where you're not even allowed to send the kids out in the hallway. You can't let them miss any class time. They have to stay inside the classroom. And forget about staying in the classroom. There are some schools that you can't send the kid to time out. So don't get me wrong. I totally understand what the goal is. But the problem is that it's not made clear. So for example, in some circumstances, especially when it comes to a fun activity, punishment is missing out on something. If you allow a child to continue playing a game, they still get a sticker. They still get that reward. They still get that trophy. For doing poor work, they get a sticker for bare minimum stuff. What are you really teaching them? You're teaching them they can do whatever They want to. That's what you're teaching them. And I don't want to be that type of teacher, because I'm not going to be that type of mama. I'll tell you that right now. So my goal, whenever I'm dealing with kids, it normally doesn't get that far, but sometimes it does. I always try to talk to you. I want you to understand why you're in trouble, what you did wrong, in the simplest of terms. I want you to think and reflect on yourself. I understand why you hit that child. But how would you feel if they hit you? You'd be sad, right? You'd be angry, right? What's a better way to handle that? What can you do? You could tell a teacher, right? And now this way, you're not in trouble. Only they are for, X, Y, and Z that they did. Or maybe they didn't do anything wrong and you just want to hit them. Like, you know what I mean? You talk to them and help them understand that you understand their feelings. You explain why what they did was wrong. And give them a solution to how they can better handle that. However, if a kid is going to continuously do something and not listen, you cannot just keep playing the, oh, sweetie, let's not do that. Hey, let's use our feelings and do something fun. Oh, you have so much energy. You're hitting everybody. Okay, let's play a game. That is not how you discipline and raise children, because I'm sorry, those are the future kids you're going to see in prison. Those are going to be future killers. That's exactly what you're doing. You're teaching them there are no limits. Anything you want to do, the world is going to accommodate you to make you happy. They're going to be in for a surprise when they get to high school, when they get to junior high, when they get to college, when they start working a regular job, because that is not how the real world works. And some of the excuses that I hear is, oh, they're young, let them have fun, be nice to them, they're learning. This is the time where you instill fear and discipline. And I'm sorry, fear is a part of discipline. Why do we do the stuff that we do every day? It's because we have fear. If you could do whatever you want to, you would do it. What stops you from punching that cashier at McDonald's for effing up your order? What stops you from smacking the cooks for undercooking your food? Exactly. Not just because you are empathetic towards them, but there are consequences for your actions. You know that as an adult, especially a man, you put your hands on somebody, you go into prison. You're going to end up with a criminal record, and it's not worth it. How many times have men held back wanting to knock girls out? Grown women for putting their hands on them. Why? Because we know that the law is in favor of females. I'm keeping it real with you. And there's social stigma to it. As a man, if you hit a woman, you're seen as a bitch, just and the other. Okay, but if a woman hits you, as a man, you're pretty much taught that unless it's life or death and you give her several warnings and she won't stop, then it's okay. But even then, you have to prove that you were in a situation that you couldn't get away from. Okay, we as adults understand there are consequences for our behavior and our actions. Same thing goes with stealing, anything else. We understand that things we got away with as a kid, we cannot do as an adult. So why are you waiting until your child is literally grown practically? Because I'm sorry, when they're a teenager, it's too late. That's how you end up with those little bratty kids. I saw that video. Y'all not going to see this for a while, but that little bratty ass white girl. That literally broke my heart. I'm going to share that on Instagram. I'm going to record it and post it to my Instagram. Seeing that. Because I literally saw my mama when I saw that. And I'm sorry. I wish some little white heifer would. I wish she would. And that's what I told mom, because I was telling to my mom, I don't know if she ever thought about it before, but she said a long time ago she talked about being a teacher, and I was telling her, you could not survive in a classroom. She can tear my behind up, but dealing with other people's students, kids are cruel. And I don't know what that teacher was like, but based on the video that I saw, she seemed like the most sweetest, innocent, nice little elderly black woman. I've had black teachers that were bitches. In fact, my worst teachers have been black women. My worst teacher that I ever had that literally scared the crap out of me was my music teacher, who was a black woman when I was in 5th grade. She had me so scared I was afraid to go to music class because I didn't want to be wrong and have her embarrass me in front of my class. So I totally understand. I'm not trying to pretend because she's black, she's a good person. That broke my heart. And sure enough, no surprise, I knew what the student was going to look like. I saw another video, let's make it fair. There was a black student who snatched off her teacher's wig and was running around the classroom with it. Who raises these kids? And then with the white girl, that her situation was because she was spoiled. She called up her little racist mama and complained that the teacher was black. And then, is freaking out about how she's going to be in trouble or whatever, and how she needs to come up there and help her. At least with the black girl, she was probably just acting out and being bad because she was already in trouble. But she knew better than to call her mom and try to get her to come up there. But forget about that. We're not going to speculate. We're going to talk about what's going on right now. I have these kids, and almost none of them are new. They've been there for some time, and the teacher before me was white. And it's not just a white thing, it's an Asian thing too, which that surprised me. For my black people watching this, now y'all probably know the stereotype of tiger moms. If you don't know what a tiger mom is, it's basically the hardcore. If you watch Dragon Ball Z, look at how Chi-Chi acts, okay? That's how you think the Asian moms are like, but no, that is not true, at least not for Japan. They let their baby kids do whatever they want to do when they're young. They are bad. They will talk crap about you to your face. They will hit you. They will yell at you. They will ignore you. They will do it to other people. They'll do it in public. And Japanese parents are not offended by it at all. They will literally laugh it off. They think it's cute. At best, they may say, oh, hey, I'm sorry. And that's a rare situation. Normally, if their kids are something offensive to you, they'll hope you didn't understand it or just kind of push them away and, move somewhere else. They're not apologetic about it. They think everything their little shit do is cute. But back on subject. My goal is not to be mean or to be Vicky to these kids, for Fairly Odd Parents. But I'm like, you represent me when you leave my classroom and when I take you outside of my classroom. You ain't finna have me looking crazy and questioning what my profession is. I don't raise no baby kids. I literally had to teach this little boy inside my classroom who got so used to... Sorry, I dropped my rice crackers. He got so used to being, including with my boss, mind you, my boss... He would turn red, get angry, scream, shout, throw things. And they're over here telling me about him like I should be scared of him. And the black mom inside of me is just like, oh, wait until he meets me. He pulled that crap off on me. I got down to his level. I was like, you want to see my angry face too? Did it right back to him. You want to see it? You want to know how fast that little boy turned yellow again? I don't play that crap. So I'm thinking to myself like, you're literally encouraging him to be bad. He's sitting over here cursing out one of the foreign students in Japanese, telling them to go to hell, die, everything else, and y'all just brushing it off like, oh, it's cute. Oh, calm down, sweetheart. Sit in my lap. Let me rock you. And I'm thinking to myself like, you're creating a monster. Because if you're not going to correct it while they're in kindergarten, what's going to happen when they go to first grade, second grade, third grade, high school? This is how you create the monsters that we have right now that we call Gen Z. And what else is underneath y'all hoes? That's the problem that we have going on right now. Y'all raising dummies. Y'all raising dummies and babies. Y'all don't want y'all kids to do their own work. Y'all don't want them to have homework. They can't be yelled at. They can't be spanked. Nothing. I'm sorry, but talking to kids does not work. There are limitations to how well that'll go. Sometimes you do have to raise your voice with them. And depending on what they did, sometimes an ass whooping is needed. You can use the excuse to, being hit never taught anyone anything. But look at it this way. Since when does being put in timeout, aka going to prison, teach you anything? It does indirectly. You have either the rest of your life or the rest of your sentence to think about what you did. Was it worth it to steal from that person? Was it worth it to knock them out? Was it worth it to murder them? Is it worth not having your freedom anymore? Probably not. It's the same difference. When you get your butt beat, you can now reflect on it. Was it worth it to do X, Y, and Z? Now I'm in pain. I'm hurting. I don't believe it should be the first line of defense, and I do believe there's such thing as being too young for one. But once you become old enough to know right from wrong, where you can make the choice to follow instructions or directions, and you continuously choose not to follow them, and you are now hitting your parent, cursing them out, throwing things at them, I'm sorry, that is old enough for a butt, beating. And I'll leave it at this. I'm your teacher. I can't do that. But the world is going to, and you're going to wish you did when the world kick your baby ass. So you can, play nice mom or dad or whatever. Say, I don't believe in the whoop. That's fine. The world does. And when they kick your ass, because one day you ain't finna be here anymore. You are going to die. You are going to get sick and get put inside the nursing home. You are going to be alive and not be able to help your child. They're going to make the wrong choice. They're going to take out their anger on the wrong person, and it's going to either cost them their freedom or their life. And I don't know which one you'd rather it be. So you choose. You want them to have a little bit of pain, have their little feelings hurt from getting yelled at now? Or do you want them to have a lifetime to sit behind bars and think about why they shouldn't have done that? Because you never believed in timeouts. You just talked to little Timmy. You want to whoop your baby ass? Or do you want that bully at school to do it? Because they messed with the wrong person. They thought they can just hit anybody and they're not going to hit them back. And now your kid got a missing tooth and missing vision in their left eye. Think about it. I'm tired of having to take embarrassment from other parents. The same little boy that was turning red, I took him to the park today with my class. He's running around on the playground. Mind you, he has a younger brother. My phone. A little boy starts chasing him. Couldn't have been older than 2. He gets the bright idea, I don't want you to follow me anymore. He turns around, pushes the little boy to the ground. And I think he threw sand in his eye or something. I had to snatch him up so fast. Because sure enough, what happened? The other teachers, my assistant teacher, everybody talking to him nicely. Oh, you need to sit down, don't do whatever. What does he say to them? No. I walk over there, sit down. No. Gave him the black mom stare. I'm not going to ask you again nicely, sit down. What did he do? Quickly, 2 seconds later, sat down. Relaxed, no longer red anymore. It's a mind game. He knows he can get away with it with the other teachers. He knows I don't play that crap. So that's what I'm saying. You talk to your kids nicely, try to be their best friends. It can work for some kids that are truly good, that really will just listen to you. But the reality is, the reason why we follow rules and do stuff is because we know there are consequences for not doing so. There are rules that tons of us don't want to follow. I think we've all been, y'all probably want to punch me in my face. I think we've all been sitting and listening to somebody talk, maybe not even mad at them, but them just saying something that you don't agree with, you don't like them, and you want to just knock the crap out of them. For example, that little dumb Jamaican bitch that I was talking about that I was friends with, Trishelle. I wanted to sock that bitch in her face so fucking bad when she was sitting there talking all that crap at that table, but I had to think to myself, is it worth it to fight with her here? Because for starts, now I'm going to be ghetto and ratchet like Trishelle, and 2, if that's not enough, alright, now, she can call the police on me. Even the restaurant can or somebody nearby. Now, what's going to happen? I'm going to get charged because I'm an adult. I'm not a kid anymore. I have to realize, yes, what she's saying is rude, it's hurtful, it's disrespectful. But is it worth losing my freedom over? I don't care about that Jamaican hoe. She can say whatever the hell she wants to about me. At the end of the day, I have a better life than her. I'm younger than her. I have more money than her. I have more dating prospects than her. I have everything this hoe don't have, including friends. I'm not worried about her. She could say whatever lies and whatever crap she wants to make herself feel better. I'm going to keep my hands to myself. It's not worth it. Because will it feel good in the moment? Yes, I would love to snatch that little $10 Chinese Cynthia wig off her head. But is it worth it to knock her out? No. Because now, while I might feel good and get a laugh for a second, who's going to have the last laugh when I'm getting my butt deported from Japan? Her. Not worth it. So anyway, I talked to him about that. Then we came back inside the classroom, same thing. Pull another kid's hair, hit her in the face. Had to talk to him then. Earlier that day, I think he might have scratched one of my students' hands while they were fighting over who was going to have what spot in line. Had to talk to him about that. It's like, come on. This is how you know this kid don't get disciplined at home. And it's not happening at school either because everybody's afraid of him. Anytime he acts bad, everyone's calmly talking to him. Don't do this. Stop. Look at me. Let me hold you until you calm down. I wish my parents were white so bad. I would have loved to have grown up that way. You got kids telling grown people no. Saying no is cute when you're 1 and 2 years old. I think every little kid goes through the no phase. When you're in kindergarten, it's not cute anymore. Y'all are literally raising demons that nobody wants to put up with but you. I get paid to do it. Other people that don't, you're going to irritate somebody and your kid's going to get hurt. And even for teachers, every teacher is not nice about it. Do y'all not watch the news, read newspapers? Teachers do bogus stuff to kids all the time. From harming them physically, sexually, anything else. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, by raising your kid to have a jerk-like personality, to be a baby kid, to not listen, they're going to send the wrong teacher over the edge. And it's going to be too late for your little baby. You're not going to be there to save them. As a teacher, I can't whoop your kid, and I have no interest in it. I'll yell at them if it's needed. And it's always used as my last resort. I was someone that got yelled at a lot as a kid. And I feel like it hurt my speech. Even as an adult. So I try to avoid doing that. But if it's necessary, then yeah, I will. That's another problem too. People keep thinking back to reflecting on their own childhood, and it's like, you need to understand your parents, probably like mine, overdid the disciplining you. There's a fine line between abuse and discipline. If you are traumatized, you more than likely got abused and not disciplined. You don't have to be a bully or a monster to your kids, but they need to understand they have to respect you. Kids that just get talked to are kids that can respect you. If your child doesn't respect you, I'm sorry, but you can speak all sweet and nice to them all you want to. You can send them to their room all you want to. It's not going to give them the same message. I love these Starbucks Christmas drinks. These melty chocolatey lattes. But I'm sorry I didn't eat anything all day. I was so busy. We had a field trip to the dentist's office. I left out late, barely made it to work on time. Didn't have time to cook lunch or breakfast. Or to stop at the store. I literally went to the convenience store at the end of my workday. But yeah. Anyway. Off of that. This is what I want to talk about. Man. Speaking of white people. This is why I like working with y'all. Y'all speak y'all mind during meetings. We had a staff meeting today. I shouldn't be sharing nothing inside this video, but I'm going to. Because we're not giving names. We're going to call this guy Jeff. I had no idea that Jeff was an admin. I thought that he was, an admin member. I didn't know he was just a regular teacher like me. I misunderstood that when I, first met him before I started working here. So anyway, every Wednesday we do a staff meeting, and one of the teachers, actually I keep calling her my co-teacher. I said this on Patreon. She's not really my co-teacher. She's really just a neighboring teacher. But the way that my classroom is, it's really one big room, but it's split in half. So she has one half, I have the other half. But anyway, where was I? Yeah, her mom was organizing some little workshop for us for team building. And so at the end of it, we were asked if we had any questions by one of the admin members who's also doubling as a teacher. And Jeff just let her have it. He said everything. Now, I'm not going to lie. I can't really relate to their problems because I'm working in kindergarten and I work at an IB school. So I'm with the PYP program. They are doing the secondary. Is it called secondary? I forgot what they call it. Basically elementary and junior high school, etc. And so for their classes, they actually, switch classes, etc. Whereas for me, I'm with my kids all day. We don't go to different classrooms. We don't switch classes. We stay where we are. So he was complaining about how he was having to cover for teachers without giving any notice. There was no lesson plan, no worksheets, no nothing. And about how they shouldn't have even had off days because they took time off during the semester, which the handbook clearly says not supposed to do. They're supposed to do it during, the breaks, fall, summer, winter, etc. breaks. 2, if that's not enough, one of the teachers left on the day that they were going to the dentist, which made it where there was one less teacher to go, for that to be handled. And on top of that, how is that even, a professional thing to do? You can't take off on a day that they're going to the dentist. Then, on top of that, if that's not enough too, he was saying that another day that a teacher had taken off, that I guess it was where everything was weird how it lined up, and it ended up to the point where he didn't even get to have a lunch break. He didn't even have 10 or 15 minutes to stuff to eat a snack or something because he had to double and take over other classes, and he was teaching 2 classes at the same time, everything. And he was like, it's too much for teachers to have to orchestrate who's going to take over their class when they're not going to be at work. That should be admin's job. And so, I don't know what to call the admin member. We're going to call her Isabella. So Isabella, she was like a deer in headlights. She didn't know what to say. And so she was saying how at her previous job that, she was responsible for finding her own replacement. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that's a ghetto thing that black companies do. Good schools do not have their teachers find their own replacements. Not to mention, the other dumb thing was, it's not like we're getting replacements from outside of the school. You're asking your coworker, who works with you too, who is also a teacher, to take over your class. I'm pretty sure they have their own work and stuff to do too. So how is that supposed to work? Plus, the way that this school works, there's 2 separate campuses because there's not enough room for all the students inside of one building. And with that said, that makes things even more complicated. How are you supposed to find somebody to take over your class? Especially if you're, have multiple classes like how they do. They have science, math, etc. I don't know what classes the homeroom teacher does and which ones they don't. Because for me, I do everything. And so at least in my case, I have an assistant teacher. So if I'm not there, she can just look at my lesson plan and do my lesson for me. And I have, my co-teacher, neighboring teacher, is right next door to me. So even she can cover for me, if needed. And so, for example, next Friday, she won't be there. So I'll be kind of helping out with her assistant teacher because I'm right next door. But her assistant teacher will take over her class. This is a problem that we can't relate to. And so it really just makes me mad. I felt his pain and anger for him because he went in on them. He went in. I was talking about how it's unprofessional and how he went on how it's not following the handbook and that and the other. And the whole time I'm just thinking, I can never say this as a black person. Because if my black ass tried to say any of that crap, I'd be looked at as ghetto, unprofessional, and it probably cost me my job. I can never talk to admin staff like that because he went off. He was not nice about it at all. He said it in a nice-ish way, but he was British. And if y'all know anything about British white men, they don't hold back. He said how he felt. And so he said it with class too. He said it with class, but with attitude. He was very straightforward about how he felt about it and about how, that should be admin's job. Teachers are teachers and not admin. They have their own work to do. I was like, yeah, that is true. Because, it shouldn't be our job to try to schedule that. We're given off time like every other employee in the world. It's your job as the employer to figure out who takes their place. And so he even said it. He was like, I understand that, maybe, y'all call yourself doing that because it's cheaper or whatever to have another teacher, that's already here cover and take over the class, because like they didn't even do any work. And so he was saying that he can't be at two places at the same time, and just everything he was saying. I wish I could remember in detail. I wish I recorded it, because, man, it was good. I had never heard him talk that way. And I always see him in the morning. He always waves at me, so I wave back at him. And he's the only white guy, the only white person that I work with besides the girl right next to me that actually speaks to me when they see me, too, on his own. So I was really surprised to see that side of him, because I thought he was admin. And then beyond that, he always seems like he's happy, to be at work. So I had no idea what was going on with him, his frustration. And everybody was just quiet because they were ready to go home. But I was thinking to myself, like, y'all need to be listening, because y'all also work with the older kids too. And I'm pretty sure y'all are going to want to take time off too. So I'm thinking to myself, I can be acting like how y'all are, being nonchalant and not care. Y'all should be, chiming in and saying, yeah, I agree with you. Because this is going to happen to y'all too. Because anytime one of y'all have to take off or want to take off, you got to orchestrate who's going to take your place. At least this don't affect me. I got 2 assistant teachers. I got a co-teacher. And then she got her assistant teacher. I'm straight. Anytime I want to take off work, all I got to do is say, hey girl, I'm finna be gone this day. So if you can help my assistant, yeah, bye. But they didn't say nothing. They were crickets. To be honest, I'm going to say his name. I felt like I was Jeff. Because I've literally wanted to say the stuff that Jeff says at my last job, but I didn't say it. And that's what I really hate, because it always takes it being the right messenger. And by messenger, I'm because as a black person, nope. I know for y'all white people watching, they're like, oh, that's not you complaining the race card. No, trust me, I speak from black experience. I've been black my entire life. As a black person, I told y'all about this before in the video, I literally lost my job for giving my 2 cents and saying it nicely. They can literally say anything on their mind and it gets accommodated. He went in even further than that. So he was talking about how, it's admin's job to either cover our class or to find their own replacement to cover it. And so Isabella, she was like, well, the person that, we're doing the admin, my boss, the person that hired me, she's taking over, the other kindergarten class, K5. And so he went in about that too. And I learned more information about that I didn't know of. He was like, well, the fact that she has K5, it's her problem. It's not my fault, that they can't find somebody, that's adequate or whatever. I forgot the word he used. Oh, competent. That can work, from now. Because he was saying that the girl that they're hiring isn't going to start till February. And so I'm just figuring it out. No, he didn't. Like, Jeff, oh my God. I would never say that. Like, that's type of stuff I say here on YouTube, but I would never say that to my boss. I couldn't believe that. And so she's not really our boss, but she's an admin. She's over all the staff. I mean, she's like, the PYP and whatever else. Forgot the other one. Coordinator, basically. And so I'm just thinking like, oh my God. But yeah, that is right. And so I didn't know when this girl's supposed to start, but I'm thinking to myself like, how do y'all white people do this? Like, how do y'all do this? And the crazy thing is, they don't even realize it. I don't even think my boss, I forgot what I named her, Sally. I don't even think Sally realizes the exception that was made. Because I can't lie, the closest I got to feeling white, my job held my spot for me. I actually lost my visa status. I talked about this on Patreon. I'm not going to go into detail about why or how. It's all there on Patreon. You want to be nosy? $5 a month. You can watch it there. But they actually held my spot for my job for me. And that was the only situation I've ever had where I got white privilege for the first time. But I've never found a job that said, oh, we love you so much, we'll wait until you're ready to start, even if it is 5 months from now. And so, it ain't no 5 months, but what is that, December, January? 3 months? They're going to wait 3 months for you to start? You secured a job 3 months in advance? Damn! I could never do something like that. Any experience that I've ever had with a job, they hire you, you got to start right now. Any job that's going to hire you months out is known as some sort of like dispatch company mass hire job, like Dscipl, Nova, GABA, etc. Those companies, they can wait that long. But an international school, those are the most desirable positions because they offer the highest pay. They give you the most freedom and flexibility, and on top of that, you normally have shorter work hours. There's more freedom with how you teach, how you dress, etc. But it depends on where you work. If it's a dispatch school like Dscipl, that does not count as international school. I'm not just saying it because I worked and I'm bitter. I'm being honest. It's a dispatch school. There's a reason why. So it doesn't run the same way. man. So I was glad that he was there, even though I'm not even teaching his type of class. But that is true, and it's crazy how they don't even think that far. So I get it, there are some other schools that run that way. But the problem that I have with the foreigners here, that's the sucky part of working in Japan. Even with the people in administrative roles, you have a whole bunch of underqualified people that are working the position that they have just based off of how long they've been working with the company. Or number two, based off of their connections with the management of the company. So literally, just by being friends with the owner of the school, you can obviously get an admin position. You don't have to have any administrative experience, no nothing. You can get the position just off of that. And that's scary. Or just for being at the company for a long time. And that sounds good, oh, they're a loyal employee, etc. But it's like, everybody's not made to be a manager. Everybody's not good with scheduling. Everybody's not good with, X, Y, and Z. So, hey, it's not my school, it's not my issue. But I'm just thinking to myself, it's little things like this. This is how you make teachers want to quit. Like, have y'all not learned y'all lesson? Literally, everybody has been quitting this year before I even started working. So I'm just like, okay. Not my school, not really my problem. But I literally see, it's scaring me in one way, because I tell you, when I have my own school, I'm literally watching what all the problems are. And even like seeing the salary, like, I shouldn't be saying this on YouTube, but I'm keeping it real. Y'all don't know where I work anyway. I was looking and I'm thinking, like, y'all only pay the bus driver $11 an hour. And so, one part of me is like, well, that's more than what some other people getting paid, $10, $9 an hour minimum wage. But I'm thinking to myself, like, it seems like a small job. You're like, oh, well, anybody can do it. But the problem is, if you want to retain your employees, you pay them well. You want them to feel like there is no reason to go to another company. You treat them well, you pay them well, you give them time off. If you don't do those three things, you are going to have people quitting. You have to do all three. A lot of companies like to cut corners. They give you less hours, but then not enough pay. So sure, you might be happy, oh, my hours are short. But what good are short hours when you don't have enough pay? Because now you're thinking, well, I would like more money to enjoy during my off time. So what's going to happen? You're going to find a job that gives you more money. You might have more hours, but now you have more money. Then you need balance. Then you might find a job that gives you more money, but then you have no free time to yourself. You want to enjoy your money. You want to enjoy your life. There's no work-life balance there. Then you have the job that doesn't give you, the time off that you need. So you see what I mean? Like, it's just little things like that. So I get it. But it's like, as an employer, your goal should be to retain your teachers, especially here in Japan, because it looks really bad, both to the foreign parents and especially the Japanese parents. Like, they're used to it, the Japanese parents especially, but it would make your school stand out if you have teachers that are staying for years and years and years, because it's very, very standard for schools. The oldest person working at any school is normally 3 years. You rarely will meet a teacher that says they've been there for 4, 5, 10 years, etc. Even if the teacher themselves has been in Japan for 10 plus years, they were not working at that company. They switched. And that is why. Everybody wants to cut corners. They don't want to pay you enough money. They don't want to give you enough off time. They don't want to give you reasonable hours. Like, they don't care about your personal life. So, I'm not going to lie, I have no complaints about this company. I've worked horrible jobs before. I love this place. But I can see from their perspective, if I were teaching their classroom, I most certainly would have been pissed off and been angry about that. And there's little things I could think of I could be upset about. Like, they could do a better job with organizing schedules. For example, they just had me start doing bus duty today, and I felt like that should have been explained better than it was. But whatever, I can manage with things like that. But I could feel his stress. I felt stressed listening to him talk. And I hate that I felt like Isabella, from her perspective, was just like, well, why are you yelling and ranting at me? I don't control all of this stuff. But that's the problem. And as somebody else was saying, which they were ignorant, the white person, that's what I'm saying. See, white people can say whatever they want to. They were like, well, the buck has to stop with someone, because they were trying to pass off the blame and, say, oh, well, it's admin's, job to do, the scheduling when the teacher takes off. And, oh, it's your job. It's like, I would never say that out loud. Once again, things that I cannot say, but that I'm thinking. And yeah, I gotta keep it on. So that is admin's job. Like, what else do they do during the day? Nothing. Their job is literally to see who's here, answer some parental emails if they get any. Just a little basic like that. It's like, scheduling is normally an admin job. That is extremely ghetto and unprofessional for a teacher to be responsible for their own replacement. That is your job. We're already doing the work by making our lesson plan. It's your job to decide who fills in that place. And it's also stupid and cheap for you to be expecting a fellow teacher to take their place. As a company, you are responsible for having some substitute teachers on hand, or having an assistant teacher that could take over the class for that time and be pulled from another class, or even an admin member that steps in, because that's really all you have to do is take somebody from admin to do it. I don't understand why it's that hard. So, and then it's like you do this and you stress out the teachers, and then what happens? They're going to quit. And now you're going to be running around like a chicken with his hair cut off, having to explain to all the parents, sorry parents, but this teacher quit. We can't tell you why, but yeah, they had to leave for personal reasons. And a lot of them saying they're going back to their home country when they're not. Make up some long A story. Then you have to waste time and waste money recruiting another teacher, hope that they don't quit too, train them, help them out, answer all their little stupid questions and get them used to the school and comfortable, etc. Like, that's a nightmare to have to go through. So I don't understand why people don't think that far. But that's what I'm saying about the bus driver too. Like, you might think, oh, it's just a bus driver. But okay, look at it this way. If you hire a new bus driver, you have to teach them where to go, where to drop off people, where to pick people up, how long to wait. You have to teach them all of this stuff all over again. I would rather pay you way more than what you're really worth to keep the same person than to underpay you and have you work for 2 seconds. Sure, I understand the other fear. People are afraid of paying you too much for the job. You're doing a horrible, crappy job, or still quitting early. But I would rather know that I've done everything on my behalf to make you stay and that you just chose to leave on your own than for me to have underdone everything, have a huge, high turnover rate, etc. And, it's just factual. Look at it this way. Imagine if McDonald's paid you $40 an hour. Even if you have the most ghetto, ratchet customer, for $40 an hour, you're going to sit there and be like, yep, I'm sorry, ma'am. You're right. Our ice cream machine should have been fixed. I'll be sure to talk to corporate about that tonight. And you'll probably really do it, too, for $40 an hour. They're getting paid $7.25, $8.50 an hour. You don't want to deal with that crap. You don't get paid enough for it. And people do it. But you want to know what happens? They quit. How many people do you know that's been working at McDonald's for 2 years? Or even 1 year? They constantly quit. And that is why. They treat their employees like crap. They get paid crap. Who would want to work there? You want money, but you're not going to stay, because as soon as somebody else offers you a better position, even if it's the same money, because you're going to get treated better, you'll go somewhere else. But let's just talk about money. Money is the easy part to solve. You're making enough money to pay more. At least if you're getting paid more money, that would make you have second thoughts about leaving the company. But if you're not offering them anything, you don't get special time off. You don't get any special money. You get treated like crap at work. Why am I staying here anymore? So, it's whatever. I was just glad somebody else said it and not me, because I can never say that. They'd be having a staff meeting the next day. I apologize to everybody for wasting their time, for introducing me to them, because they'd be like, well, we're sorry, but we had to let Ren go. We had some difficulties, some misunderstandings. I've said this a million times, but I can never forget. Whenever I hear a white person go crazy like that and just speak their mind, I always think about how when I nicely explained to my boss, the owner of his own school, trying to help him out, that the student was inside the wrong class for her level. And I said it nicely. I was like, she's not understanding. I tried playing it several times. And then I also had explained about them having, they have to have homework every day. So it's not my choice. They have to have homework. The parents want it too. So every time they have class, so it's every week. They had students in the exact same Eikaiwa class. I've worked at several Eikaiwas and I've never experienced this. In the same classroom with different workbooks. How do I assign homework when everybody has a different workbook? And then the workbook doesn't even match what we're doing in class. Some students have a matching workbook with the student book that we did in class. I'm sorry. Student book is what they call the book they take home and actually write in. The workbook is where they do work in class, which is really confusing, whatever. So yeah, they had different student books. Some of them had books where they were filling in blanks circling words. Other students had phonics books. And I'm like, either the students need to have both books or one of those books. Why are they doing phonics alone at home when we haven't even done this in class? They don't know what these pictures are because they don't have English vocabulary. They had words where it was like pointing to, like, for example, a knee or an ox. I didn't even know it was ox. I had to think to myself. I was like, what animal is that supposed to be? If I have to think, how is my student going to know? And mind you, I said this nicely professionally. Literally came back to me the next day. Yeah, I thought about it. I don't think you're going to be a good fit for our school. He fired me over that. I'm nicely advising you. This is your school. I'm trying to help you. I'm not getting paid extra for giving you common sense advice. I'm telling you as the teacher, the native English speaker, what you should do. And really what I would like to do, because it's my class that you gave me. I'm just telling you, hey, I have this junior high student. I get it. Her mom wants her taking junior high English because of her age, but she doesn't even understand English on a kindergarten level. She couldn't answer the question, how are you? How old are you? She didn't understand the difference. All she heard is, how are you? Her brain was just conditioned to respond the same way. I'm good. I'm fine. That is not knowing English. That is not conversational. I gave her the same DVD activity with subtitles, without subtitles. Gave her the answers. She couldn't even read English well enough to figure out which box to check. I literally had to do it for her. She didn't understand a lick of the class. And it was a one-on-one private class. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm trying to help her. I get paid regardless. I could lie to you, pretend like everything went great. I'm being honest with you and coming to you one-on-one, privately, not in front of her mama. And I'm saying, look, this kid, and I'm not the first person to teach her, so whoever was there before her, they were just enjoying, oh, easy student. She's nice, she's quiet, and she's stupid. I care about your students, so I'm trying to help them. And instead of you being like, oh, the teacher noticed something that somebody else didn't. Maybe she's right. Instead, I get punished for being honest with you. So that's what I'm talking about. White people. They can say whatever they want to, do whatever they want to, and two things happen. Either one, admin listens to them and they change everything, or two, they listen to them, don't change anything, but it doesn't cost them their job. I told you all, maybe I'm going to tell my patrons about this a little bit. There was a guy, I never talked about this job. Oh my God, I got to make a video about that when I get the time. I worked this job over the summer last year. It might seem like it was years ago, but last summer, not this past summer, but last year summer, 2020, there was a white British guy. I don't know what's up with y'all white British men, but then again, y'all the ones that started that colonizing stuff, those colonial behaviors. Now I see why. Y'all got anger issues. He literally, to both the other white staff, the white American staff, and the Japanese, both administrative staff, would tell them what he was and wasn't going to do. And he's a dispatch teacher. His job is to fill in and be a sub. He would literally go directly to the office and say, I'm not doing that. No. He had the Japanese staff scared of him. My boss was scared of him. If he didn't want to do something, refused to do something, said no, they let him. They even switched schools for him because he didn't like somewhere. If I did any of that crap, they'd fire me on the spot. And they were so comfortable with his personality. The white American guy, he came and talked to me and joked about it to me, about how much of a jerk he was. He even called him a jerk. And he's, an admin member. I could not believe it. And I swear I'm not exaggerating. There's so much more to say about that dude. But even when I did meet him, he was not friendly. He didn't speak to me. He was there for strictly business. He didn't give two craps. It was time for him to start working. He's supposed to be doing, some work. Busy work. He sat there, ate, drank. And it was so funny. I watched my assistant teacher, the one that made me really want to quit. Her name was, I should be saying her name, but I don't give a crap. Her name was Coyote or whatever. She gave me a headache. He didn't give two F's about her. She was literally stuttering and scared of this man. And I'm thinking so all I have to do is speak my mind or be a jerk to you, and that'll get you to fall back and get off of me. I would love to do that, but I know that if I do it, you're going to snitch on me and it's going to cost me my job. But here he is treating you like trash, like you're not his boss. because she's supposed to be the assistant teacher, but really she's basically the boss, because her job is to report back to the actual manager, and she works as the translator. She spoke English at a native level. You would not know that she isn't an American by talking to her. And here the staff they're making all kind of jokes about her. Was she married? No, she's not married. I don't remember if she isn't married or if it's one of the other people. Because I remember them making jokes about somebody not being married because of their personality. I think it was actually her. So, she came off as nice when I first met her. But when I started working with her, and I should have known something was wrong with that position, because I'm not going to lie, that was one of the worst demo lessons I ever did. I should not have gotten that job. But they were so desperate, they hired me anyway. I was not made to be an Eikaiwa teacher. It was an after-school program, and that was the job I was working with that Cuban dude that I was telling you about that gave me a newfound appreciation for work, because here I am. I was complaining about the pay, but he was telling me how that was the highest salary he's ever had in his life, and was talking about how bad Cuba is, and about how little they have, and about how being in Japan is so great, how he takes pictures and sends it back to his family, talking about, how you can go inside of a store and they have all of the stuff, and even the quality of cheap jeans that he has at Uniqlo, like, you can't find that there. He just went into like so much stuff, and it honestly gave me a new perspective, and it made me feel like a jerk, because I'm over here complaining about work to him, thinking that we can relate, and I'm like, oh, you're just grateful to have a job. Like, I can't relate to that. So but yeah, so one part of it makes me happy, because it's like they say the stuff that I want to say, but then the other part, it's like, it makes me mad and kind of sad too. It's like, how do they not? Because even if you're talking to other white people, how do y'all not realize they're not even doing it intentionally? They're not doing it intentionally. I swear they're not. I know it seems like it, but I promise you they're not. They really do not realize that they take offense only to black people, but they have no problem with a white staff member speaking their mind. It's only when we do it. Even with being friends and grouping together. Now, this company, there's no problem. I'm talking about in general. I'm not talking about my current job. But anytime black teachers group together, be friends, everybody's looking, staring, why don't y'all hang out with the other staff? White teachers do it. Nobody thinks anything. And we're in Japan. We're all minorities. But they specifically notice when it's us. I speak my mind like that. I'm ghetto. I'm ratchet. I'm unprofessional. And I agree, it should not have been done in that manner. I'm not going to lie. That is what I want to do in my mind. But as a professional, I would not do that. But that's besides the point. It happened. Not by me, but by the white teacher. They did it. Crickets. Nothing. This is a new company. So maybe I could get away with doing it here. I can't even say. But I'm just thinking to myself, like, okay, interesting. So, and it amazes me too that they have all this anger about things they'll, on the admin side, but then it's like they make no effort to discipline their students though. Because like even at my last job, my co-teacher, she let her kids be kids. They didn't have to stand nicely in line. They didn't have to be quiet unless she really needed to say something really important. They just had total freedom. They didn't have to do homework. Homework was optional. Like it was just all of this, free stuff they had going on. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that is a surefire way to set up your kids to be monsters in first grade. Because they've gone all this time not having homework, gone all this time not having to stand in line nicely, not having to be quiet for these things. And it's like, you're taking them from having zero rules, total free time, no structure, to now strict structure rules. And I don't know who the hell told y'all white and Asian people that this is better for your kids, but it's not. It's better to start off at school knowing there are rules. There's structure. You have to follow these things. You don't do these things. Than to just randomly go to school one day and then suddenly all the fun gets sucked out. You're like, okay, now do these things. Follow these rules. No more fun. I would rather my kids start off when they're young understanding school means homework. School means follow rules. School means sit nicely, stand in line nicely, etc. Than for them to make it to, second, third grade and be looking stupid because they're still acting like 2-year-olds and the rest of the class is acting like they're in high school. I have no idea why y'all thought that was cute or okay, but I ain't white, I ain't Asian, and it ain't my kid, but, and I know it's not all white people or Asian people, but I'm keeping it real. It's a lot of y'all, not most of y'all, because, wow. And I get it, y'all want your kids to have fun, enjoy their, young life, whatever, but it's a lot harder and scarier to go from no rules, no structure to suddenly having to do this. And plus, it's embarrassing for both your child and for you as a parent, because everybody else is following these rules, understands this, knows the structure, and your kid is the last one to get the memo. I would rather have my kid be the only one, used to rules, having manners, etc., having a strict code and looking good and being quiet and standing nicely and used as the example in class, than to be clowned and embarrassed for being the only person not following rules, the only person making a mess. Like, even with treating the kids like babies, like, for example, I understand why they use them, but I'm sorry, if you're in kindergarten and you got a bib on, they should not be wearing no damn smock, excuse my language, for eating lunch in kindergarten. That crap should stop at the latest age 3. There is no reason for no big old 4-year-old, 5-year-old, 6-year-old wearing a smock. Come on. They will learn to not make a mess when they get pasta and milk all over their clothes. Y'all treat them like babies, and then suddenly in first grade they're supposed to learn, oh, now we have all of these rules, all of this homework. That is a huge wake-up call. It's bad enough. There's a huge jump from kindergarten to first grade. You normally have a longer school day, different subjects, more work. But to go from having no work, having no structure, total freedom, I can't imagine. So, I'm done. I'm over here making a 1-hour video out of this, so that's it. All I gotta say is, this is why I would love to be white for a day. Because I would love to be able to speak my mind, have nobody get mad at me. That's the thing too. See, it's not gonna damage, I know, Jeff. It's not going to ruin his relationship with Isabella. She's going to be totally fine with him. But if I did that, Isabella would take it personally. She would never talk to me again. She'd be funky towards me. But Jeff can do it, and nobody's going to think anything of it. Same thing with the rest of the staff. The rest of the staff was quiet. But they're not going to talk crap behind, Jeff's back. They're not going to make secret meetings with each other and gossip about him. They're not going to stop hanging out with Jeff. It's going to be okay. But if I did it, everybody would be like, oh my God, look at that bitch. Like, Rant. She's rude, she's disrespectful, she's whatever. It's okay for him to do it, but I can't do it. And the crazy thing is, once again, I'm not even going to say that they mean to do this, because I don't believe that white people do this intentionally, or Japanese. It's a subconscious psychological conditioning that they have, where they don't even realize they make differences. But it will be okay because Jeff did it, because he's white. It would not be okay for me to do. And I think back to the playground incident. That little boy that got pushed to the ground, the student that did that was Japanese. But I imagine that if one of my kids did it, a foreign student, that Japanese mom will be sending an email to my school complaining about how bad the kids at, my international school are. It happened at my last job. It wasn't my class, so I don't think it was. But there was a Japanese parent that complained to the school. I don't know what student did it, but they're petty like that. They make a big deal when it's a foreign child or a foreign person doing something wrong. But when it's a Japanese person or a Japanese kid, adult child, turn a blind eye. Oh, it's okay. Daiju, it's not a big deal. Yeah. Just brush it off. But nope. Let it be a foreign kid or a foreign person. God forbid your phone goes off. God forbid you're talking on the train. God forbid your child is a child and they push somebody or hit somebody that shouldn't have done it. Even if it's by accident. Even if you as the parent at the park should have been watching your 2-year-old instead of just taking them to the park and letting them have free reign when you see that there's much bigger kids running around on the playground. So, and not to play devil's advocate and take back what I said, because this kid is problematic. He does push and hit people all the time when he shouldn't. He knows better. But you get what I'm saying. So, they make differences with that too. And sad thing is, once again, they don't even realize it. I really don't believe they do. I think it's literally just something that they do. Just like how there was a post I saw from a white guy a while ago, and he was saying that he had to unlearn a lot of stuff that he did after he adopted a black son, because he realized that even although he's fathering a black child, in his mind he has subconsciously been taught to fear black people, even although he adopted a black child. And he's not truly racist in that sense, but he felt afraid being around other black people. The need to lock doors, to switch side his son was on because a black person was coming. And he gave a little story about it. People got mad over it, but I was like, no, I appreciated that type of honesty. Because a lot of white people don't realize that they are racist until they're, faced with things like that, if they're being honest with themselves. Even some of y'all watching my videos and subscribe to me too. Y'all might not mind listening, talking to, and watching me. But how many times have you as a white person, if you're being real with yourself, forget about me. If you're being honest with yourself, you've probably come across several times in your life where you did stuff for no reason, just because somebody was black. You automatically didn't trust them, saw them as a danger or a threat. And it's fine. It's human nature. It's natural. You've been taught and conditioned these people are dangerous. On the flip side, as sad as it sounds, I've been taught the opposite of you. I've been taught, same thing, black people are dangerous, don't trust them. But at the same time, I've also been taught two other things. I've been taught to fear white people because if they think you did something, you're guilty. And number two, I've also been taught simultaneously, you're safer than my people. I gave a story a while back which I deleted on Twitter because I went through a stupid phase. I was afraid of people pulling up my old tweets should I ever become famous. I was a kid and I was stupid. I'm just telling you how my brain worked. Which maybe it is good that I did that now. But now, should I tweet whatever I want to now? I don't give a crap about y'all canceling me. That's already happened. I made a whole video talking about I don't like Asian men and it stayed here. So, and now the dislike bar is gone. So, but anyway, back on subject. What was I going to say? I haven't done that in a long time. What do they call it? Raspberries or whatever they call that. But what was I saying to y'all? Damn, my brain is gone. I need some rice crackers. I got to go back on my video. I forgot what I was talking about. I'm thinking too fast. I was talking about making differences with behavior between Japanese foreign students and not really meaning it. Oh, I was talking about, being fearful of people. So yeah, I had a situation where before I moved where I was, my parents, or my mom, currently lives in a very nice, affluent neighborhood in the suburbs of Chicago. And before we had moved there, it was around Christmas time, and she asked for me to drop off some gifts at some friends of hers' house. She got them little gifts. I wanted me to hang it on their door if they didn't answer the door, if they weren't there. Well, I don't think she knocked on the door. She just asked me to hang the gift. She gave me the address, asked me to hang it on their door. As I'm hanging the gift, one of her neighbors come outside, got out of her car, she just parked her car, and she asked me what was I doing there, and questioned me as if she was about to call the police. She treated me like I was a thief about to break into somebody's house. Mind you, I was a teenager back then. I was like 16 or 17 years old. And I'm thinking to myself, it scared me as a kid. I didn't think anything of it. But honestly, I kind of got a little bit mad as an adult because I'm looking back. I'm like, why was my mom entertaining this? So my mom had to get out the car and explain what I was doing. And she's hanging a gift, she's my daughter, for my friend. I know such. She named the person that lived there. And then a white person, slowly backed down from it. But I'm thinking to myself, you're not the police. What thief goes out in broad daylight on a Sunday morning with orangish bright red hair, silver sparkly Ugg boots, and hangs Christmas gifts on people's doors? Is this the Grinch at the end of the movie or something? And who the F are you to question me? And we all know she was only questioning me because I was black. And so my mama even acknowledged that too. I've literally had I've had them pull me over when I was with my ex-boyfriend who subscribed to me. You probably seen this video right now. Pulled him over while I was leaving work and just asked what we were doing in the neighborhood. And then almost tried to act like, we made some, either some drunk or high purchases. Because I'd gotten off work and I'd gotten like a bouncy ball and some other stuff just for the fun of it to relive my childhood. And so he comments on the things that we bought. And I'm thinking like, you are so bored. You literally pulled him over just to ask for insurance. Just for the fun of it. Because he was black. We're black. And wondering why we're in... No, I dropped my ass. Wondering why we're in the neighborhood. Since when was it illegal to drive in a white neighborhood? And I'm thinking like, nigga, I work here. I work at Walmart. I was a teenager back then. I was on my own, porch in my front yard. Had the police ask for my ID. This is my house, nigga. Like, what? And even now in Japan, I've had to unlearn all the crap I have to deal with between white and Asian people too, since we seem to forget that too. I've always been taught that I'm guilty. So anytime I do things like go shopping, I'm always like really super afraid of being near exits with things, worried about holding small things. When I make it clear, like, look, I touched it, I put it inside my bag, I'm gonna buy it, or if I don't want it, I'm putting it back the way I found it. I shouldn't have to do any of that type of crap. But you always have to worry about being framed for something. Always gotta prove that you're a good person, prove that you're innocent, prove that you're not this, prove that you're not whatever. And so don't get me wrong, some of my people take this the wrong way. Like Trishelle. I need to stop talking about this heifer. But they use it as an excuse and an invite to embrace being ghetto, being ratchet. I'm not talking about like that. I mean people that are literally doing the right thing. Not being those things. And then still having a tiptoe around, doing whatever. That is my problem. And then I hate it that when somebody else does it, they don't get that same label that we do. For example, even this whole little movement with, calling people Karens, etc. I find that offensive too. Why don't we call it the behavior for what it really is? It's ghetto. I'm sorry, but people get offended over being called a Karen. Like there's a whole white movement with talking about how it's harassing, it's whatever, and how black people would be upset if we called them Shaniquas or Tyrones or whatever. Which, yeah, you're true about that, I agree. But at the same time, it's like, okay, that's a better alternative. Because actually y'all did, I don't know, it's probably started about black people to be honest. But I remember people referring to stuff as being, a Shaniqua, whatever, to refer to them being ghetto. It didn't become as big of a thing as it is now because not everybody's on social media, especially after this pandemic situation. But I'm thinking to myself, like, that's better than calling out the behavior for what it really is. It's ghetto, it's ratchet. I literally was working at JCPenney before. One of the craziest experiences I've ever had at work. I had an elderly white couple come in and their check wasn't being accepted from the machine. And so they were buying Christmas gifts and it wasn't accepted. Do you know that the woman, I can't remember if she was giving me the items to ring it up or to take it back. She literally threw the toys at me. Like, not to hit me, but like threw them to slide them across the counter out of anger. And even she realized what she was doing was disrespectful. And she apologized. She's like, oh, I'm sorry. You already did it, bitch. And she still had an attitude for the remainder of the checkout. I was getting paid $8.50 to put up with her bullshit. I had to pick that stuff up off the floor. Everybody looking around, seeing what's happening. Did my boss have my back? Nope. In fact, they didn't even keep me after that. They let my ass go. Why? Because white people bitched and complained about me while I was working it. Had another white woman get upset because she thought the items that she asked me to hold behind the counter, that we had put them back. Because my store never told me that when people put stuff on hold, it doesn't stay behind the counter. They put it in the back with a label on it. Well, I didn't know that, so I thought that it was gone. And I told her, I was like, yes, I know. I'm the one who grabbed your stuff, but I don't see it back here. So what happened? She got mad, went off on me. I asked somebody to help. I was like, look, I don't see it back here. Do you know that by me asking, instead of my manager apologizing for not explaining it to me, they told me where it was, like it was factual, didn't apologize, but took it down as notes like, oh, this bitch knows what she's doing. Yeah, don't tell the customer that. You made her upset for no reason she didn't have to be. I tried to work at Starbucks again when I was older as a teenager, like about a year later. Do you know that I didn't get the job because I was honest and I stupidly answered the question honestly, where they asked me was a situation where you tried to help a customer and it didn't work out? And I gave an honest answer. That's when I learned, don't tell the truth during interviews. I told them that it took me about 10 minutes and that I still couldn't find what they were looking for. You know why it took 10 minutes? Because I worked inside of a giant Old Navy downtown Chicago on State Street. Went all the way to the back of the store looking for a stupid pair of gold flats they didn't have. The girl that was interviewing me, she literally looked at the white guy next to her and they started writing notes like, yep, we ain't finna hire her. This is Starbucks. I'm not going to the back of no store here. Either we have the beans or we don't. That's enough to choose not to hire me. Like, that's what I hate too. It's like, all of y'all know that you're lying. And you know that the people that you're interviewing are lying to get the job. You literally get hired in the US based off of being a good liar. The more lies you can tell without getting caught, the better of an applicant you look like. I just hate crap like that. So I'm getting completely off subject with y'all. I was just giving examples of the crap you put up with, and also the treatment that you get away with being a white person. Because if a black customer did that, I'm pretty sure my manager would have had my back, would have been like, oh, this is unacceptable, whatever, asked person to leave. Even with returns, I had a white customer who let me ring up the wrong cigarettes for him, saw me get them, took them, and then let him return it. And you're not supposed to be able to return those at Walgreens. Then I had a black customer trying to return hair products, and they treated her like she was a criminal. They did the same thing with my mama. And I'm thinking to myself, I literally had a white woman return sunglasses, shades. Come on. And she opened and used them. Clearly trying to get Christmas money. Even at Old Navy, had a girl come back try to return a jacket that was clearly worn. Same thing at JCPenney. Clearly worn, probably didn't even come from the store. We took it anyway, gave her store credit. Black people come in and try to do returns? Nope, that's not good enough. Where do you buy it from? What year? Fill out this whole form. Do X, Y, and Z. What was the credit card you used? All this type of crap. Why don't we do this with the white customers? What? So, alright, I'm done. Sorry for making this, race debate, whatever. Y'all gonna hate me in the comments. But that's fine. The dislike bar is gone. Now I don't give two craps about y'all opinion. The truth hurts. Be glad you have that privilege, and you don't have to put up with the crap that I do. The purpose of my video is not to make you feel bad for being white. I'm literally just talking about how it's sad, crazy, funny, seeing the stuff that y'all can say, do, and get away with that I can never do. And in this case, I agree with the person saying, but the way it was handled was unprofessional. And I know that I couldn't do it without it costing me my job, or at the very least, ruining my relationship with my coworkers. And then, of course, the irony, and y'all don't mind getting mad, being ghetto, rude, and saying bad things about each other as staff, but y'all afraid to discipline the students. And then these same people will talk trash about the students and will complain about how hard their work day is and how stressed out they are because the kids don't listen, don't have rules, don't have whatever. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, you created that monster because none of y'all kept getting the kids passed on the next year, and none of you all decide, hey, maybe we should teach them how to stand the line. Maybe we should teach them what no means. Maybe we should teach them how to keep their hands to themselves. Maybe we should teach them how to say excuse me. That would just make too much sense. So it's whatever. So don't get me wrong, I love my job. Had a great day at work, actually. I'm just thinking to myself inside my head, so I want to rant to you all about this, because I'm like, I could never do that. But alright, I'm gonna end this video here. We're over an hour now. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like. Leave a comment down below. Give me your 2 cents. If you want more videos like this, consider becoming a patron. It's only $5 a month. And yeah, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Comic95. You can follow me on TikTok at Comic the Savior. Add me on Snapchat at Comic the Savior. Like my Facebook fan page at Comic95 the Savior. And read my blog, comic95.com. I have more journals like this. You can check out my YouTube channel's homepage and search there. I have playlists. And if you have any questions about Japan, anything you want to know about, I have tons of playlists and topics that you can listen to, watch there. You can search keywords and look through my videos on my YouTube channel's homepage. So yeah, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I hope you'll watch another video. Bye.